So in the part 2 of this Tudor series, I will be discussing the Black Bay 54, which I've picked up about, give or take, 3 months ago now. And here it is, the Black Bay 54 in its pure glory. I did mention that, this is the watch that I've decided to go with, versus its brother, from maybe a year or so, which is the Pelagos 39 that we've seen together. Now with the specs, we have the 37 millimeters in diameter, very different from the 39 Pelagos that you've seen before on the previous video. And then similarly, this too also has that MT5400 movement, which is also fully COSC certified. This is different from the Pelagos in that this comes at a full flush steel, the 316L steel, as evident from the color as well as the hue of the watch itself right here. 20 millimeters in lug size, also different from the Pelagos 39, that it goes with the conventional lug sizing, in this model. And then this too also has a 200 meters in water resistance as well, making this a fully functioning dive watch, a tool watch in essence. And as mentioned, this is a very different watch, from its older brother in terms of design, more vintage-ish, compared to the Pelagos 39. And that's just something that I prefer. Also knowing that this is a full flush steel model, the weight of the watch is definitely evident versus its older sibling. This is a better watch out of the two, just for me, the bezel action on this piece. Just like the Pelagos 39, extremely clicky, no plays here in terms of bezel action. The lume on this watch is great as well, compared to 39, a little, I guess, like lacking if I were to call it, but still nonetheless an excellent model that I can definitely recommend for everyone. Like I did with the previous video, I will be sharing the cons as well as the pros of the watch. Starting with the pros, I could definitely tell you that the finishing in comparison to the Pelagos 39 is much better. The corners of the watch itself, while still sharp, nothing as, I guess, like, dangerous as the Pelagos, very wearable. Let me put this on the wrist really quick. And there you have it. Pelagos 39 set very well on my wrist, but this is just an ever so much more of a wrist-friendly watch. And while it does measure at 37 millimeters, I can wholeheartedly tell you that this feels more flush as if it was a full 38, 39 millimeter model. Similar to, all these new generation Tudor models, including the, the Pelagos 39. This comes with the T-Fit clasp, giving you that very easy maneuverability in terms of giving it that 1 or 2 inch extensions, as you can see right here, that is just readily available on the fly. One thing I definitely want to call out, versus its sibling, is that, this is a more easy to wear model just because of the difference in the size, of the clasp itself. Pelagos 39 is notorious for its very long clasp, which a lot of people have called out. Personally for myself, it wasn't too much of an issue, but having owned, this 54 now, I can definitely see why this is the better out of the two when it comes to, wearability. And I can tell you, wholeheartedly that, again, personally for myself, this is the model that I have decided to lean towards. The other pros that I can definitely mention for this model, the price itself, between the two, a more affordable choice, which is, to be honest with you, very stunning. I did think that initially, the watches are going to be very similar in terms of the pricing, but again, knowing that, Pelagos is considered to be the more professional model out of the two when it comes to Pelagos versus the Black Bay models, I can understand it, which actually is a pro in itself, just because this makes the watch more affordable and it is a better package, out of the two for most of the people. I know that the popularity of the model has made it difficult for this to be easily accessible from the dealers. In my case, I was very lucky, was able to get this at its original price, without having to pay a premium. And I actually ended up getting this from Watchbox, believe it or not. I did throw in an offer for the price, which they actually accepted, so I was very happy about that. And again, I've owned this watch now long enough to say that, this is gonna be something that I'm very happily wearing for many years to come. Now, with that being said, let's discuss the cons of the watch. Of course, like the Pelagos and like any and all watches, I'm never gonna have a watch that is, I guess, like fully just perfect. I don't believe that there is a thing such as a perfection, you know, when it comes to watches. It's all a matter of taste and preference. And with that being said, I do have a couple of things that I definitely want to call out. The first being that it is definitely this bezel grip action compared to the 39. Extremely thin in terms of the design, the bezel itself. Single hand performance, while definitely doable, is very difficult for me. In this case, knowing that, you know, I have to grip this at a very meticulous angle from the side. Again, very thin, almost coin-like in terms of the design. And that's just one thing that I've noticed from having owned both of the watches. The second thing is also another thing in terms of size, and that is the crown size right here. Again, going back into the Pelagos lineups, this is very much smaller, you know, when it comes to the crown size itself. If you're used to the oversized crowns across from watches, just know that, you know, this is gonna take a little bit of getting used to. Not, you know, to the point that it is impossible, but just something definitely that you need to keep in mind. And then, of course, last but not least, while this model, you know, comes with the Lume as well, you know, and it is a great Lume, don't get me wrong. Excellent Lume on the watch itself. It is definitely comparable to its older sibling. And let's take a look at the Lume together. And there you go. Even in daylight, you can see the Lume is there. But so much so that yes, you know, it is definitely weaker. Just a little pip Lume on the top, along with the inner dial, getting the full Lume treatment. But compared to the Pelagos 39, this is the more conventional, I guess, like vintage-ish color of the green hue. And then, of course, you know, with that being said, the Pelagos 39 had the full bluish Lume, which is more visible, especially in dark situations as well. Let's see if I can give it a little bit more of a Lume treatment right here. There you go. And there you have it. Ultimately, the reason why I decided to dive into the 54, no pun intended. The first being that, you know, I have always been a fan of Black Bay 58, but have actually refused to pick up the piece because of how popular and common that has become. I was hoping for some sort of a new colorway or even a variation of that watch. And then ultimately what came down, you know, to it was this release, you know, from last year, which everyone now raves about. It has become a very popular piece, you know, amongst all the watch fans throughout the world, you know, globally. And this is the Black Bay 54, which is very similar to the origins of the Black Bay 58. Now, I will be doing a comparison video for both of these pieces together right here, just to share its similarities as well as differences. So stay tuned for the part 3 of the Tudor series. I'll catch you guys very shortly.